Hi, this is Chris Corry, State Representative in the 14th Legislative District, proudly serving Yakima and Klickitat counties. There's been a lot of discussion over the last few years around emergency powers in the state of Washington and whether there needs to be limits on such powers. Myself and other colleagues believe that there is currently a constitutional crisis in our state that has broad emergency powers with no limiting check by the legislature. In almost every circumstance we find across this country, there is some form of legislative oversight on executive emergency powers. Why is this important? Well, in the event of an ongoing emergency, it's important that we have the consent of the governed to the rules being imposed on them. Unfortunately, with COVID, we saw that there was broad powers given to the governor with really little to no way for the legislature to have a say on behalf of its citizens on whether or not they agreed with the continuation of those emergency powers. To that end, myself and other colleagues have introduced a bill that would provide a check from the legislature on ongoing emergencies. So in the event an emergency lasted 60, 90, 100 days or longer, the legislature would be able to say, yes, keep going, no, stop, or a mix in between that says, we like what you're doing here, but not here. It provides an important constitutional power oversight, and as we know with our branches of government, it's important to have dispersed powers and checks on each branch. The latest update on where we're at with emergency powers is that they're not giving it a hearing. They believe that it's no longer an issue because COVID is over, and unfortunately, I think that is incorrect. Really, now is the perfect time for us to go in, fix this gap in our executive power structure, and really ensure that in the event of a future emergency, legislatures on behalf of their citizens have a say in how they're governed. Again, it's not about this governor or this emergency. It's about restoring a constitutional imbalance and making sure that people's rights are protected and that they have a voice in their lawmaking. Another big topic that I'm hearing about is vehicular pursuits, and unfortunately the news isn't so good in the last week. We had two bills, one in the Senate, one in the House, that had broad bipartisan support in each chamber for restoring police pursuits. As we've seen over the last couple of years, the state's removal of that power has unfortunately given a blank check to criminals to not only break the law, but flee from police officers who are trying to enforce the law. One senator is holding it up, claiming that she doesn't want it, and so therefore we're not going to hear this bill. Myself and other colleagues are pushing back, and we're saying no, this is something that needs to pass now. We've had too many instances of victims getting hurt further by allowing criminals to flee without cost. So we're going to continue to focus on ways that we can push these bills through and hold the majorities to account for a problem that they directly created 2 years ago. We are pushing for a simple fix in the Blake decision that would recriminalize possession of illegal drugs. And why is that important? Well, for one, it enables law enforcement to get people who are in the act of either using or distributing drugs off the street, ideally so that they can either get the help they need to break that substance use disorder or put in jail and prosecuted for selling drugs. We've seen many examples since the Blake decision was rendered where criminals are using this to their advantage and police are left with no tools on the street to hold the criminals accountable. It's a simple fix in statute. We're seeing a little bit of hesitance from the majority party to move on that, but again, the people are demanding we return law and order to our streets, and fixing the Blake decision is the highest priority for us behind police pursuits. Question I often get is, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I tell people how I feel? Well, that's easy. You need to contact your legislators. We have a really good system at ledge.wa.gov that will actually tell you who your legislators are and how to get a hold of them, whether it's by phone or through written or email communication. It's time for citizens in this state to stand up and say stop with these crazy policies that are hurting families, hurting communities, and unfortunately hurting some of the people that we think we're helping here in the state of Washington. If people want to reach me, they can visit chriscorry.houserepublicans.wa.gov. That has all my latest news, updates, bill information, as well as my contact information. I'm always happy to see you in Olympia during session and take meetings to sit down and talk about what matters to you. Always happy to have a phone call as well. So you can visit that website to find the easiest way to get a hold of me, and I look forward to having that conversation with you.